All right, welcome everyone, Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Apothecary Diaries, Season 2, Episode 15. Oh, okay. We got something dicey coming up.
We got something
here.
dicey. So, we've got Suire just in close proximity to Maomao.
And Jinchi.
I don't think Jinchi will recognize her, but you know. So there's that. Then there's also Xiaolan just potentially being in a whole heap of trouble because some ice got dropped on the ground.
Yeah,
damn.
Ice is precious. Like, ice is a big deal.
Yeah.
And also, Xiaolan's not important. Like,
nope.
like in the grand scheme of things.
She, like, the whole question of whether or not you would, it's whether or not you could. Well, that's going to be a lot more relevant here when potentially the life of a servant girl that is not Maomao is now in potential jeopardy.
And even if it's not her life, just the idea that she's just suddenly just kicked out, you know, she's gone like that.
Yeah,
so
that's a good point.
There's a whole bunch of issues there. But yeah, we've got our potentially one of our most dangerous antagonists just being brought into the focus, even though we knew she's here for a while. She's now actually getting that character focus. We see the way in which she's able to disguise the fact that she's a woman from everybody by having I have a bunch of body scars. I don't like showing my skin, what have you.
Right.
Probably covered specifically with a lot of bandages to tie down her chest and what have you.
Sure.
I'm very excited to have her in the story. So, yeah, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Oh. Just a caning. Oh, jeez. Jeez.
Yeah, let's salvage the situation.
Of course, yeah. Yeah.
Well, maybe you do. Nice. Okay.
Well, that's probably when he's supposed to deliver it, you know?
Sure.
I love the way Maomao's taking ownership of this, even though that's not really her responsibility. It shows a lot of ways that even though Maomao can be kind of cold about how something doesn't concern her, she really, really cares for Xiaolan. Like, yeah. So that pin. Oh. Yeah, let's see exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, okay. So it was definitely an accident. Right, she's just been happily invisible, really. Just.
Yeah.
Oh, Jinchi loves the way in which you're, moving and grooving and doing stuff. Do you need my help? Can I help? Oh.
But you gotta. And
she can't just say, "This is my dear friend," you know? Right. It's the way that Maomao talks about it, yeah. What? Oh, nice. Yeah. Calling back to the stuff beneath the waterfall. Yeah. Yeah. What should it be? Yeah. Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, he did.
Oh.
No, that's totally fine. That's not a big. Oh.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Could you walk a little faster? Like,
Yeah, we only have an hour.
less than an hour.
Yeah.
That's so vague. Like,
Yeah.
45 minutes?
Is she gonna make like a snow cone or something? Or?
I think so. Like,
Yeah.
She's gonna make the best kind of smoothie, like ice. Oh, we're gonna make the best ice treat ever.
Yeah. Full on milkshake or something. Yeah.
Bro is. Yeah, I don't think there's any sussery here. I think this is just a genuine accident.
Yeah, he's like,
This guy's
I'm
really
fucked.
Yeah, like I am in mortal danger. Yeah, yeah, we're crushing it. Yeah, tiny, tiny pieces. Oh, cool.
Oh shit.
Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's ice cream basically.
Yep.
Nope. No.
No. All right, because there's some left over, yeah.
Oh, she, yeah. He won't drop this. Oh! We in food wars now.
Yep.
Oh, I'm alive, right? Good, okay. Oh my gosh.
Fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
Fantastic.
That's so funny. But it's mine anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, this is funny.
That's fantastic. Using your alter ego to double dip on your gift.
Uh-huh. See, you have friends, Maomao. Mm-hmm. Like, well, one of them might be lying to you, you know,
Right.
but...
Okay, that actually makes me worried.
Yeah.
Why are you bringing up the baby?
Well, what? Why do we think she's here, you know? She can feel him, yeah. Yeah. Ah, it's a heel kicker.
Is she worried because they'll want eventually the head to be going out first, or?
Well, it'll move around a lot. Okay. That's understandable. Right, you would want a professional. I understand that.
But it's also a security concern, potentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right then. Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Yeah.
no. Maybe there's some things we can do to massage the baby to turn around
Yeah.
in the womb. Oh, this is not her field of expertise either. Yeah. We need to bring him in.
Yeah, but he is not allowed.
Well, but
Maybe.
uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, giving birth is no joke. Especially at this time, you know, in this era.
Oh, yeah.
God. Oh, no. Okay.
Okay.
I'm getting educated. Today I
Yeah.
learned about the word moxibustion. Your life's in danger. Yep. Even, yeah. We need Luomen. We need Luomen. Yep. The past needs to be dredged up.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. This is so exciting because of how much it ties in to everything with Jinshi. He's extremely trustworthy. Right. Yeah, Hong Yang's not gonna just take everything she says at face value, but she does trust her. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Oh, but that's kind of a... It's kind of a whole thing. Nice.
Right.
Good way to...
All right.
Perfect.
Awesome. Right, because you could still bring him in as a consultant even if
the pregnancy.
Before the pregnancy. He doesn't have to actually be the person to do it.
Yes. Our stray Neko, yes.
Yeah. Cool.
Absolutely love Gyokyo.
Yeah, she is a badass.
She's a badass, but also, like, she's so intelligent and wise. But it's the kind of thing where if she does give birth to a boy, things change dramatically.
And if it ends up being a C-section, like, she could die. Like, this could be her swan song.
Right, but just imagine the respect to be basically allowed to be brought back in. And then to see Maomao where she's been staying.
All right.
Who would have thought I'd come back to Ba Sing Se as a tourist, yes. I love his voice. Right. The temporary aspect of this makes this able to be hand-waved pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Nice. And if Gaoshin's basically on, like, handler duty...
Right.
Yeah. Oh,
spill the tea.
Sweet. We thought he'd be a bit kooky and weird.
Yeah.
You know. Oh my gosh.
Fantastic.
Cool.
Okay, so this is wild. I don't think there would have been that many, but if those are all the male heirs that the Emperor has ever had...
Why would she go there, though?
I don't know. I'm going to finish the mission. Like, I don't know.
Okay.
All right.
Fun little episode giving us lots of little developments and then a massive shift in things moving forward with Gyokyo's pregnancy having a very natural issue that could come about where the baby is turned right side up and Luomen is brought in as the expert to help maybe solve this problem and make things go smoothly, where the reason why he was excommunicated and expelled from the palace before this was because of a botched pregnancy that he took the blame for, basically.
Right. So, okay.
So this is really awesome.
Yeah.
Very fun development. Having a new character be brought into the palace that's an old character.
Yeah.
Just awesome.
It's a big deal for Maomao. It's a big deal for the history of this place. It's a big deal given that, potentially a big deal given that Suire is here, if there's any connection there. But then, on top of that, we have had situations in the past where there were a bunch of intrigue, subterfuge kind of things in order to kill the Emperor's babies. Now that a lot of those have been dealt with, it might be something where they need to be a bit more direct. So the idea that we're like having the conflict of the arc now go into, okay, there's a pregnancy.
We need to have a proper, healthy, safe pregnancy, not just for the baby, but also for the mother. So let's get into that. Let's get into the mechanics of it. I'm really excited to also particularly learn a little bit about this because there's so much that we as just people in general could learn about just not only just women's health in general, but specifically about birth.
Yeah. And the idea that we could potentially be dealing with a C-section without modern medicine in a show that goes into a lot of detail about, medicine and medical aspects and all that stuff. That'll be wild.
That'll be wild. I love the idea that Gyokyu's life's in danger here because the stakes are extremely high, not just because it's a high consort that could be in danger and thus the emperor could get involved and behead anybody that fails him in this regard. But it's more that Gyokyu is, other than Jinshi, the strongest relationship connection that Maomao has with a person of influence in the entire palace.
That is a very good point.
And part of the thing that's been built up since the very beginning of the show is the fact that Gyokyu is a character that kind of matches Maomao from an intelligence, subtlety, and I would say kind of like a deft hand perspective. She doesn't overextend her influence. She is very, very wise in addition to being intelligent. So if we're going to have a character like that be put into jeopardy, this would be a very massive shift in the dynamics of the story.
Right, whether you have Gyokyu die, her baby die, her baby live, the baby being a boy or a girl, like all kinds of things, to say nothing of what might shift as a result of actions taken by the enemy forces to interfere with this, right? Like the whole idea of the midwife that they would bring in, or the midwife that got sick, or we bring in an expert, from outside the rear palace, and it's like, I see, my mind was just going to all kinds of crazy places.
There's all kinds of things that can go into that there. The convenience of the one that previously for Lingli's birth ended up getting sick right at the last second doesn't necessarily mean anything bad about them.
Right.
But it could be that someone targeted them and got them sick that they weren't able to be there. All this is conjecture, speculation. But it's the kind of stuff that would make sense to be brought up given the context of this being the story that surrounds the doings and dramas of the Imperial Palace, where we have a secret heir just walking about. And that's just a thing that's just sitting there. Maomao doesn't necessarily want to go into the details of that herself. She kind of hates the fact that she does know stuff about this.
But also the whole idea of, but that's just conjecture. I don't know why Luomen was, expelled or whatever. Well, Luomen's back, so there's the possibility that there could be a little more confirmation on that front, right?
I would say there's a definite certainty that there's going to be certain things getting confirmed here, at least for Maomao's sake. But, wow. So, okay. Very, very fun kind of setup episode. Having the development with the ice be solved rather quickly, I liked, because the scene and the setup for it was pretty, it was an accident. It was entirely
sudden scare.
Exactly. It's a reminder of the position that a lot of the eunuchs and the servants are in while in the Imperial Palace, which I think is really good, the rear palace. But it being something where Maomao was then able to interject herself in a way that is actually uncharacteristic of her.
Yes.
Specifically because it's Xiaolan.
Right.
And when asked about that from Jinshi, she's like, well, I wouldn't be able to sleep well, you know, tonight if I didn't do something.
Right.
And the way Jinshi laughed, it's something that feels really fun that this episode kind of double dipped on the, you don't maybe know this about yourself, Maomao, but you're really weird in like a very like endearing kind of ways at times. But the fact that Jinshi kind of brought it up without really like telling her, in a way that's like, I don't want to insult you in some way, like, but it's just, you could just say she's your friend, you could just say that, it's okay.
Right.
And then later, the three girls with Gyokyo being like, wow, that's your
dad?
That's the one that raised you,
right.
He seems so normal. And then I was like, I don't get it. Like, what are you guys?
Well, he has common sense, And
are you guys trying to like dig at me or something?
Is there
like,
a joke here somewhere?
Right. There's this adorably like fun way in which Maomao gets to be this very unique character who doesn't understand a lot of social norms.
Yes.
And a lot of the ways in which people connect with each other in just normal friendships and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And thus
it's something that gives us no short supply of entertainment.
Absolutely.
Oftentimes it's used to show her be a badass and cut through the intrigue and all that stuff, right? And it's great and it's awesome. And it gives her some very unique privileges, opportunities, and skills in this palace where everything is intrigue and kind smiles, right?
Yes. Masks and all that.
Yeah. But the fact that it also just means that, like, in regular life, there's just, it just, things go a little bit differently for her, right? And this is one of those situations where it's not giving her some badass moment or whatever. It's just, what?
It's like, Maomao, you guys won't find out about this stuff in terms of like the general side of things, but you might have a little bit of the tism, like a little bit,
exactly,
a little bit on the spectrum, a little bit.
And I love it. Like it's fantastic, because how encouraging is that of just the idea of the person who thinks about things in such a weird way, right?
Yeah.
But then being able to, because of that, see things that other people just won't.
Right. And everyone else here is not using this as a way to bully or make fun of you or anything like that.
Nah.
They love you. It's the aspects of that being something where they're like, we've always wondered. Like, we've always wondered.
Because they're so
how did you become this way?
They're so used to seeing you be the badass, basically, and they might see a bit more of your quirky side than most, given that you live here, and it's the, oh no, I want to live in the warehouse or whatever, right? And they're like, no, stop it, you have a room,
Right.
But yeah, so that was super fun, and I gotta say, this show is really having its cake and eating it, and milking the cow for all it's worth with regards to the whole Lolan,
oh my gosh,
Shisui situation of the, oh, what's going on here? I heard there was this whole kerfuffle and hubbub, and then just comes in, visits, has the leftovers of the ice cream, and then probably then scampers off to go have the actual ice cream. Like, I love it.
I love it too.
And it might even be something where they're like, oh my God, Lolan's nowhere to be found, but she had a delivery on the way. What's going on? She gets there and it's like sort of melty, and it's like, we're so sorry. I promise this won't happen again. You know what? I can let it pass this once.
I think she specifically has like most of her ladies in there probably aware of her double life.
Sure.
Situation.
Oh no, I'm more meaning good point. She wouldn't be directly interacting with the eunuch that was then bringing her the ice, right?
No,
of course not.
The eunuch came in, delivered it to one of the ladies at the front, and they were like, "Thank you, goodbye."
Right, and he's probably somewhere thinking, "Oh my God, am I going to get executed or fired or shipped off somewhere?"
He's thinking probably the rest of the day and night, like, please let that have been enough.
Yeah,
pray that servant girl and that quirky apothecary girl were right, and that was a good thing. I did taste it, and it tasted good, but obviously this is a consort.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't know if she's gonna be it's gonna be enough.
Several different stratospheres of society, right? And then meanwhile, the head ladies in waiting, the head lady in waiting and the other ladies in waiting are probably like, oh, she's out. She's probably not going to be back for a bit. It was getting kind of melty, so we just sort of ate a bunch of the melty bits, but
no.
like, here's some that's,
Never.
Yeah.
No, they probably specifically put it in the coldest room and were like, we will have this waiting for you. You have returned. And she's like, yes, give me my treats now.
Indeed.
Yes.
I've grown rather hot from running around outside.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
She's like, the perks, yes, being just a smart, intelligent,
Right, like, yeah, exactly. As far as like,
patting herself on the back, like, I'm so clever.
Yeah, not even villainous virtues, just endearing elements for the current face of our antagonistic force, right?
Right, because she's not necessarily an antagonist.
Yeah, it's just she's one of the people vying for, influence and stuff.
Right. Because that's the fun part I always love so much about the way in which the consorts' positions within the palace don't inherently make them antagonistic. It's just that they all are competing for the same thing. Maomao is not a high consort.
Right.
So she doesn't care who has whose babies or who gets a boy and who doesn't. It's all, just the kind of stuff of where she's like, I am being helpful enough that nobody hates me, and I am being, invisible enough that nobody hates me. You know?
I'm kind of waiting for the moment when Maomao has some interaction with like Luomen, and there's this element of where like she's expecting Luomen to maybe be a little bit upset with her or something, and Luomen just isn't quite,
just kind of nice.
Yeah, it's just kind of nice, and she's like, oh, okay.
All right.
All right, cool. Well, all right.
That's not how I would have typed her.
Yeah, exactly. I'll see you later.
Because that's the thing that I'm suspecting is that as we get to know Shisui more, is that that's actually who Luomen is in a lot of ways.
Right, and Luomen is the
mask.
Iron Wall of Briggs. The gate has been dropped.
Well, right. It's just the. Yeah, I'm now a consort, and that's just,
I am oozing nothing but high status.
Yeah. Right. And so there you go.
Yeah.
I love that we have both of those kind of little mini plots in the same episode, and then we also have Suirei going to a grave site. Now, it was not an individual grave site, so it's not
like
someone
10 or
necessarily
12.
really important. It's also looks to be somewhere in that like northern kind of forest area, the area that's been kind of built up a lot throughout this season.
10 total gravestones.
10 total gravestones, and they're kind of nondescript, which to me makes it seem like they're not that important. But the fact that they're all together in little groups there means then that they're connected to each other in some way.
And I don't think that just regular servants or whatever would really get a burial site on the palace. Let's be real.
Well, okay. So here's my thought. She is not looking at all of them in like a fond, like kind of looking at them way. She's not framed in such a way where she looks at the 10 of them.
Yeah, she's
looking at a specific one, which to me makes it seem like the others don't matter to her.
Okay.
So that's why I don't think it has anything to do with like, babies that died or what have you along the way. I think this is more of something of where if she's had like a lot of time in the palace before this.
Right, like with their whole idea of like her potentially being Luomen's like protege or whatever.
Yeah, or someone that grew up being, born of somebody who worked here.
Yep.
And that's how like she's able to navigate this area well enough that she did fine and what have you.
Right.
I think it could be that this is like her mother or someone that that like was important enough to her that also worked here, so they died here. And thus it's the I'm doing this for you. Like every time we've had someone that ended up being an antagonist that did something that was like pretty extreme. Their motivations were always pretty complicated. They were not as straightforward as I hated this person or I wanted to kill this person.
Right.
It's more like there's a mix of guilt, shame,
Yeah, in a lot of
passion,
ways.
love, all this other stuff mixed together. And usually that's because there's someone else that they cared deeply about.
Right. Usually the people that have these simplistic motivations are either not in the story long or are at a distance and having a big influence, but not directly involved, like the twins or something like that.
Well, in some ways, that's where the simplistic motivation is such that it's not actually fully explained. It's
Sure.
only our current understanding of their motivation. But
Good
I'm
point,
talking about
yes.
the ones that get found out as antagonists.
Right, yeah.
Like the head lady in waiting, specifically.
Of Liwa, that was her cousin.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a couple like this. Fong
Yeah.
Ming as well.
Sure.
There were basically really complex motivations at play there that weren't just antagonistic ones,
Yeah.
but were also like, I was doing the best I could. I
Sure.
loved and cared, and I tried. I was trying to handle the impossible here.
And that is interesting for Suire, given that what we've gotten from her so far is that she seemed to be more a going for political upheaval of some kind, right? Rather than doing something for personal motivation.
Right. And so this is an added complexity to that.
Right.
Meaning that her motivation is more personal. It, at the very least, has a chance, I would say, of being more personal. Because even if this is not, like, actually tied to her motivation, and it's like, nope, I specifically put a hidden drop site in this grave so that I could then later come back, dig up the grave, and retrieve something important.
Get all my shit.
Like that's the level of sussery I put on her, but that's also too, that's too, there's not enough basis for that. So I'm more just coming at this of, this looks like a solemn moment of someone being alone, not having to have any masks on or what have you.
Right.
And just spending a quiet moment looking at someone's place of, burial. It's a remembrance. So she's then actively like remembering this person and feeling what it was like to be near this person or to be connected to this person in some way.
There's another thing that I wonder about. So, and this is going back to season 1 stuff. So I'm sure my memory is not exact for this, but because there was that whole point where we thought that Lacan was actually working with Suire, that he was that he was like her person on the inside. But given that it wasn't him, but she did have an accomplice in order to make her getaway work. I don't remember if that person was ever properly caught or dealt with or anything like that.
I think there was an assumption that there was an accomplice. I don't think that it was ever proven that there was an accomplice.
Sure, yeah. But if I were to think of a potential other connective point that she has other than just being in here because of Lolan's family, that's maybe that could be involved in what the situation is somehow, but...
Yeah, I think we'd have to go back and look, but there were certain characters that were involved in things that ended up being kind of like a dead end, where they either died or were banished, or most of them I think just died. But the idea that one of those people in season 1 could have been connected or associated with Suire, and Suire ended up maybe being forced to kill them in order to cover the trail or tracks or something.
Sure.
Like that.
Yeah. No. Maybe that was the thing. Is there was the person who drowned in the weird way.
Yes.
And maybe that was her accomplice.
Yeah, and the idea that if, Suire has accomplices or what have you, they're just as motivated probably as she is to some extent. So if, Suire's willing to go through all the hassle of faking her death in order to get away, I could totally see it as being something that she's willing to die and or obviously murder to succeed.
Right. And
thus, anybody associated with her would probably have the same do or die situation.
And just because maybe she killed people that she was working with in order to get the job done or whatever, that doesn't necessarily mean that she didn't care about them. So there's the possibility that this could be, and
this
it's
person in the grave could be someone that she killed that she didn't need to or didn't want to or didn't have to. Or,
right. And it's okay, I'm back, so I'm gonna make your death
finish
be worth
what
it.
we started.
I'm gonna finish what we started.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fail this time. And so it's sort of the stealing herself.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the usual reasons for coming to a grave is for, some kind of ritual, repetitive, kind of honor being given to the person by you taking your time in some kind of annual or semi.
Right. It's generally some
repetitive.
kind of either celebration of the past or promise for the future.
Right. So if it's something other than that, this is where I would think that our speculations are kind of on point. But all that being said, she's a fascinating mystery box of a character.
Yes.
And I love that we are constantly getting little drip feeds that are omniscient perspective for us to then get to know her before Maomao gets onto the sniffer.
I was going to
of
say,
what's going on.
because I think she was a fantastic force in the story in season 1, but we didn't get to know her that well. And so the idea that these kinds of shots could give us more of that insight and characterization, I'm all for that.
Especially in our classic Apothecary Diaries end of the episode cliffhanger moment. So, next episodes could be really fun. But y'all, discussion, if you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general. Also, be sure to check out our Twitch channel, see if any of that interests you. We'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.